In this demonstration we're going to look at configuring network virtualization by using VMM. We use network virtualization to isolate virtual machines from different organizations, even if they share the same Hyper-V host. So when we configure network virtualization, each guest virtual machine gets two IP addresses. One of them will be the customer IP address, so the customer assigns this IP address to the virtual machine. We can configure this IP address so the communication with the customer's internal network can occur even if the virtual machine is hosted on a Hyper-V server that connects to a separate public IP address. Also what we get is we get a provider IP address, and the hosting provider assigns this IP address, which is then visible to the hosting provider and to other hosts on the same physical network. And this IP address is not visible within the virtual machine. And in order to create these virtual networks, what we have to do is we have to create logical networks first, and this is because they're associated with logical networks. So what we'll do here is we'll now just create our network virtualization. So just in VMM here, what we're going to do is come to VMs and services, and then within VMs and services, what we're going to do here is we're going to create a VM network. This brings us into a wizard. So we're creating a datum north, and we're going to associate that with a datum UK, so we'll select next. We then get our isolation, so we're going to isolate using Hyper-V network virtualization. So an IP address protocol for the VM network, IP version 4, and IP address protocol for the logical network. We're going to go with IP version 4 as well. We're not yet using IP version 6. Then we'll select our next button. That brings us into VM subnets. So what we need to do now is we need to add some subnets. So we'll select our add button, and then we fill out the table. So we're going to have a datum finance 192.168.4.0/24 associated with this VM network. And then what we'll do is we'll select next, select our finish button, and we've now created a datum north. What we'll also do as well is we'll create a virtual network for a datum south. So similar sort of thing, what we'll do here. So what we'll do, create a VM network. This time we'll create it for a datum south, and then select our next button. Again, we'll do this for IP version 4. We'll add some subnets, and the subnet's going to be for a datum warehouse, which is 192.168.4.0/24. And if you'll notice, that's exactly the same as a datum finance, but because we're using network isolation, this will ensure that we get isolation between these groups of virtual machines. So we'll select our next button. No, we won't actually. Let's create another one as well, just to prove we can. And we're going to create this one for a datum logistics 192.168.5.0/24. So what we've got here is we've got a different IP subnet associated with this virtual network as well. We'll then select our next button, just telling us that no network service specifies the gateway has been added. Fair enough. We'll just select next, and then we'll select finish. This will now create also as well the virtual network. So now we've done all that, if we just come to our VM networks, what we can see is we've got a datum north, we've got datum south, and we've got our external network. Let's just go to a datum north. All we'll do here is we'll right click, and as you can see we can create IP pools, so we can use the IP pool to handle IP addresses that are assigned to the virtual machine. So let's create one. And what we'll do here is we'll create this for a datum finance. We'll select our next button. We can specify our IP address range. Select our next button. We can specify the default gateway, specify DNS information, specify WINS information, and select finish. So what we're doing here is we're sort of creating a DHCP server, I suppose, but it's a static IP pool. So it's not really DHCP assigned address, it's a static IP pool assignment. So we'll just close this jobs menu, and that's the end of this demonstration of creating network virtualization in VMM. Thank you.